Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. Today's episode pick a card reading is going to be called What Are People Thinking About You? This is, as usual, a timeless 3-pile pick a card reading. You have the first pile linked to Labradorite, second pile linked to Pink Quartz, third pile linked to Pyrite. Remember that these readings are entertainment purposes only. Take your time, pick your pile. If you agree with something, that's okay. If you don't, that's also okay. Um, thank you so much for the support that you offer to my channel in the various forms and ways that you can. Even a like, it's counted as a support or a comment. It's like huge, like what the amount of help from you, from your side, has been huge to me, and it's helping me support my mission with the channel. And I'm so pleased and so happy that I have managed to attract and keep in my community some people with whom I can actually say I would be friends with in reality, okay, like in like the real world, so that's like an occasion for like being grateful and very, very happy. Okay, I think that's like, of course, I cannot like necessarily go into like, I would like to explore and answer to every single comment. That would be amazing, but I can't keep up with the time. And the most I can show to you right now would be in the process of refining the readings, and it's something that like I aim at like in the best way I can. So um I think that's all for the introduction. Let's begin with the reading for pile number 1. Already I've taken some notes, and I'll start the reading with the first pile. See you there. See you in each of your pile that you chose. You can expect to see the timestamps in the comment section and the description. Yeah, I think that's all. Let's begin. Okay, let's start with pile number 1. Now this is going to be quite interesting because aside from the notes, I was able to read and understand your pile. The first card is going to be the best the best representation of you. This is going to be the description that you'll most likely resonate with, and you'll understand from this whether it's your pile or not. In general, I want to say the difference between you and the world around you, the people around you, is quite the scale, quite the like you are different, like in quality, like very noble, and you've got some influences in the exterior that are not as let's say noble, and I would say, where I would see in here, extremes. Whereas like you'd be very calm, refined, and very noble, and the rest of the world kind of seems like it's not capable to grasp, understand, and really match that energy in exchange. You have the first card, the time for healing. I felt a very peaceful presence. I felt a very serene, deep, and very complex presence from this pile. It's also a feeling to me of not for everyone type of pile, and that's like coming very like hand in hand with what I have written in here. Okay, let's go to the notes. You are a very healing, safe, serene presence, and someone people rarely find. Also, this will have a tendency with the thoughts people had or have in the present moment about you. They see this rare aspect that you exude, and that's very much so being felt into the reading, being felt from people. People are scared of driving you away and are especially careful so as to not unconsciously scare or make you leave. I saw that with the Four of Pentacles because this is a graspy type of energy. And I also saw that the rarity aspect is coming through again because of like a time for healing and Four of Pentacles. Like, you know, people want to keep you. That was the feeling I got from this pile as well. You could be highly misunderstood, by the way, and people don't ask you or are not capable of grasping your depth. I feel like people, when I wrote in here, are not asking you. It's, I want you to continue on the thought, like, you don't have like this conjunction in space or the circumstances where people would be interested in understanding you, okay? And they are not capable of grasping your depth, you know. I also wrote in here, you are truly a gift that people can easily miss on, and you are not going to run to people. You're not going to chase people. Okay, this pile seems grounded in their overall value, and this is like something to their core that makes them settle and say, I'm not gonna chase anyone or anything. I would rather work on myself. I would rather live with myself in peace than chase something that most likely is not even mine if I have to chase it in the first place. I channeled in here, I am rare and I know it. I'm irreplaceable and I know it. I shine but not for everybody, and when I do there is no mistake. Yeah, you choose your people. Um, right off from that I wrote, I choose my people. I am generous to my people and I love my people to death, but I am merciless. I am cold to the ones I deem undeserving. Now, undeserving may not be necessarily the word for it, but it's not that you deem people necessarily undeserving where you would deem them as not worth your time because they are unable to understand you, and most likely they are not going to be able to understand you in the near future. um I'm one and my shine is rare. Like literally that's what came through. I shall not impart my presence to those who have no proper understanding of what I give. What I offer is priceless. I love how this pile is very aware of their value and what they can provide. I sense in here confidence. You are indeed a very rare set of combinations of very harmonious and genius energies. Okay. Once again, you are indeed a very rare set of combinations of very harmonious and genius energies. Your character and qualities morph and beautifully swirl together, forming a refined soul. This is a feeling. This is exactly the imprint or the feeling one would get out of gazing upon an intricately thought painting. It's basically a cosmos that has been condensed in a soul. Basically, that was the feeling I got from this pile as well. Um, Gracious, deep, noble, and polished. And I am very like getting like a very strange feeling as though the surroundings you're placed in are completely the opposite. Like shallow, not so thought through, you know, not so polished and not so noble. And also very defined. You are very defined in a way, meaning that you know what you are and what you're not, who you are and who you're not. Okay. That set of qualities deserves a special place in people's lives. Once you're gone, however, you are irreplaceable. Um, this is a one chance pile. This is not a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. No, no, this is a one chance pile. Because of the qualities in here, there is no time for you to sift too much. You do it in an instant, and I think that's right because literally there is a subdomain in boundaries where you literally have to sift people out because it is like coming through as interfering with your purpose or your goals in a way. but I say goals in a beneficial way, meaning that it's not like self-centered or, it's literally just being passionate about something and vibing with the ones that basically aim at contributing to that or giving something to this purpose, and sifting out the unnecessary. And that's not personal. I don't feel like this would be personal necessary, because I do not think you're like a kind person. You're like a more so like you're a welcoming person, but there are too many unnecessary, inappropriate influences in your life that you are taught to basically keep away, and you're doing a pretty good job at it. Okay. I wanted to just go into that distinction because why not? But yeah, I think you got the idea. I do not think that there is something wrong with not communicating with every single person that you come across, while still maintaining that attitude of kindness, open-heartedness, and sympathy to those, even if you don't resonate with them, You know that feeling when you meet someone and you understand that you're never gonna meet them again, because yeah, or you never want to meet them again, like literally. Very defined in a way, this pile is. Uh, you will have, if not already, a lot of exterior impressions uh, that are not to be taken as yours. Okay, now you'll have, basically this is like projection, classical projection in here. The surroundings, unfortunately, it's like a lot of chaos, and it seems to be filtering itself through the image. And it's like people talk a lot, and it could get, on your nerves. It could aim at you in a way that would make you feel as though you were given a comment and it wasn't yours, but it felt bad. Yeah, literally, that could be the case. You may be, wait a minute, many will be incapable or on reflecting on what, sorry, I have to reread this. Okay, many will be incapable of reflecting on and really getting your beauty, and still that shouldn't steer you away from filtering people. um I don't know why I wrote this. I don't know why I wrote this in here, but you shouldn't steer away from the idea that not everyone is basically meant to be in your life. People are just like meeting you and meeting themselves at some level, and that's it. Like, that's all they can do, and you can't force anything. Not that you did, it's just something that I wanted to say in here. You'll be discovered and loved for the intricate nature of who you are, but again, not by everyone, or not that you would need everyone. But many will not be able to grasp it. It's okay to be that deep and beautiful and not feel. It's okay to be that deep and beautiful and feel upset for not being seen. Keep on expanding from within. People think of you like with the Four of Pentacles, like don't let them go, don't let pile number one slip away. Seems like the Four of Pentacles once again points to your rarity and to the unwillingness of people to let you go. It's also a hoarder type of set of thoughts, so it feels like people are trying to hoard you. But when people hoard stuff, it's basically stuff. So in your case, I would get a feeling as though people would want to hoard you and have this, like, let's keep them as an object type of, thing, which really comes off as very inappropriate and not okay. People look at you and say they are relationship material, regardless of the type or the nature of it. They want to keep you, and they are very afraid to make something wrong so as to scare you or drive you away. I think I wrote that already, but yeah. People do love you, though. Don't forget that the thoughts are mixed with fear, and some might think of you as avoidant where it isn't actually the case. What I meant to say in here was, Yeah, it feels like people do love you and you are unforgettable. However, you don't have to stop at that love, you know? Um, it's very strange how I saw barriers in here with this pile, but that's also very like understandable and valid for me because I would see this pile being described as avoidant, where people didn't have the decency to approach you in the proper way, and that was the result, and basically they called you avoidant. Yeah, it happens, I guess. People crave closeness with you, and they're also thinking of the ways in which they could stop or retain you so that you are guaranteed to stay. I also got in here a feeling as though people would be studying you so that they can emulate and basically make you feel as though they're like you, you know? Um, I want to say also in thoughts there is a lingering message of they are pleased with what they see. Uh, they want you to choose them, but the emulation in here that's happening is quite not so authentic, and it's like a means to an end type of attitude. The possibility of never seeing you again is very threatening to people, quite a bit, I would say. Um, you don't know how attached people can get to you. People are genuinely angry and unstable when it comes when they find incompatibility or are unable to play the proper roles in the relationship with you. It bothers them that they also don't have or don't get to have access to use as easily as they would like it to be. You know, it feels like this pile would be the case where people choose you, you don't choose them, they know why. It's not like they blame you or something, but they're genuinely dissatisfied with something that's coming through from themselves, and you know, as though they know why they're disqualified. Yeah, that's interesting. mm, you also have got here some very nosy or intrusive people that you do gatekeep, and for good reason. People think you are a strong character and you have strong boundaries, and that once a boundary is crossed, it's really hard to get back into good terms with you. Um, I want to get back to the image, however, because I saw in here something that I have to mention. Okay. Um, I was surprised when the oracles were in here with waiter, bad, dirty, social, the crusty and hands, the hairy and target. Um, to be straightforward with you, I didn't like this when I saw it, and I didn't know how to basically address this message with you in the reading, because we have in here like dirty, bad, which seems to be going on to the scale of like spicy, like physical attraction type of things. And especially with target hands, like, you know, it really goes into a very weird domain of like combinations and messages in here. And for good reasons, I want to say you are protected and protecting yourself with the Two of Swords from these types of energies, because these people don't have no perception, like they don't have a perception of like no, or they do not understand the word no. With the Fool, this would be people who just come into your life and go, and think that's okay to do it, and that's okay to just peek and to just like show themselves up and basically like force their presence or force their influence in a way like to make themselves known. And from the other side, we have in here the King of Wands, which would be basically people with not so calm temper, not a very calm temper, but who are very determined to aim and to basically try to get you. Yeah, it was something I wanted to warn you about. You must be aware of it in some sort of way, shape, or form. But yeah, it was a decent thing to mention that into the reading. Um, okay. People find it that their behavior is rather unfiltered and foolish when they enter your field. Um, it makes them doubt their ways and also pushes them to reevaluate themselves. Like as I said, there is like a disqualification type of energy that's happening when they compare themselves to you. Not that I really like that comparison thing, but it's like, again, the message, pile one is not for everybody. Okay. You are very right in your feelings, perceptions, and desire for solace when the environment is not proper for your energy, and there is a lot of no sync or no resonance with the general demographic you stumble across. Especially reasonable to guard yourself from that, especially from what I have just said with the target, bad, whatever. Um, Yeah, it's natural. I even wrote that. It's very natural to wanna stay with yourself, to yourself, People change more than modify their perception of you in time, and the distance is more than necessary. I'd say it's even paramount in this case. People have to insert or infuse that long-term mentality when it comes to getting to know you, because and for you as well, they have to grasp you, and that happens like long term. People say keep your distance for good reasons, and they might actually see and understand very well. Sorry. They see and understand that very well, why you'd see them as toxic. Like they understand, they are very aware. Like they are very aware why you keep your distance. You don't even have to doubt yourself in this case. It's not even like you have to think that, oh, maybe I should be closer. No, completely fine. People understand it very well that you're not meant for everyone, but I do sense in here them craving you still. People also crave information about you, and they want to find out as many things about you as possible. Careful, because yeah, I wrote that, just said that thing, but I wrote it in here as well, just to be sure. Careful, because I also do pick up on some spying stalker energy, though it's actually pretty amazing how you're also unreachable and warded off from that energy. You gracefully deflect that, and you do it so well and so naturally that it's like a chore of sorts. It has become like a chore of sorts. It's so easy to you to basically identify and deflect that energy. They think you have very powerful networking skills and that you've got some sort of secret alliance or alliances with like-minded people. Your unreachability is very attractive. Most likely you're not doing this on purpose though. I could pick up on some, like, again, with the combinations there, dirty thoughts. Yeah, also, in comparison to you, people can at times feel dirty or unpure or too material or even gross. I could also pick up on some graspy wanting to reach out to your energy. Luckily, again, you are shielded from it. Like the healing, the central card is literally a legend to me. Like I'm quite honest in here, because when the healing comes to mind, it's like a temporary thing or a temporary setback that you're placed in right now to basically evolve and grow, but you are shielded from the unwanted influences that would basically ruin you. Yeah. Uh, Unfortunately, though, people do see you, like some of them do see you or think of you in terms of a prize or a trophy. Okay. Also, people think that they can't keep up with the rhythm or with the fact that you are basically unpredictable. You come off as very unpredictable to them. They feel like they can't measure up to you, and that you would send them away in like you'd send them away any moment. Um, that you are on your own mind and that you won't allow any interference to transpire. People think of you as a powerful figure who's reliant on nobody. Um, of course, we rely on things in life, but in this context, I saw independence very strongly coming through and a desire for autonomy and a strong, powerful core that's being showcased into the reading. They understand that if there could be an interaction of interest between you, they would have to match you, and they are pretty aware that you are able to give from your side and that you'd be quite generous, but um, for that to happen, they would have to change their ways. So again, it's like you would allow people, but they would have to resonate with you. And I think this is very reasonable because, again, coming back to the message, you can't let everyone into your life. Um, they think that they really have to try and work something out so that they can even measure up to you. People think about your autonomy, and you could be very creative, defined, and unique in your autonomy, where you could depend on stuff, but it allows you to make your voice heard. Now we'll go into subdivisions with the first thought, then with intensity and domain. The first thought is that you'd rather choose yourself and your abundance rather than keep a detrimental person, circumstance, or habit into your life. That you won't pity, scapegoat, or try to bring something back to life if it's not willing to do that to itself. Intensity, determined, strong believer of their own ideology and credo, King of Swords. So the intensity is quite powerful. It seems like, you are a person who is very confident in the ways in which they establish their rules in life, and you keep yourself accountable to like following these. If I won't accommodate myself, then who else is going to? The domain is generosity, beingness, expression, despite it being the temperance, but the representation in here from the temperance, also it's like whether you like it or not, I'm here, a type of presence that I would describe this pile as being. Um, if you're in, if you're out, there is no doubt. Basically, it's very, very clear. Like this pile, it's a yes or no person. Let's go to the second thought. It's basically another thought that's very similar to the first one. It's quite funny actually. It's your way or the highway. People think about how neatly everything works. Everything seems to be going fair, fine once you're there, once you're invested. And there is like a lingering, also feeling like don't interfere with them. Don't let them like. Don't doubt them because they'll do a great job. um let's see what else do we have in here. um yeah, people think how neatly everything works once you're present there, and how things don't work once you're in the like once you're not in the right mood. I would feel like this pile would be involved in projects where you'd be left to do your job, because time and time again you are recognized for, let's say, finding great results in your personal ways of working or making it work out for yourself and for the project itself, of course. Intensity is emotional. It could be that you are being seen as or thought of as emotionally stubborn, determined. You've got yourself a type of order. If someone interrupts it, then the whole thing gets torn apart. This is both like somehow good and bad. It feels like um, this is a quality type of intervention, or people think of you as of a person who's like quality oriented, but you can't allow chaos to basically intervene and question your ways, okay? Domain. You have in here also heritage, which is quite interesting. Ways of being, your style of doing things. People are aware of the fact that you should be left alone when doing something, because there is going to be max profit once you're allowed to make it your own way. Okay. Another thought is going to be from the scale of you being unbothered by others' comments, negativity, or energy if you don't allow it. That you have a strong core and a vision, and that you're steadfast into your intention and will. Very like, I feel like, this pile is actually can be sensitive, but like selectively sensitive in a way, in the best ways of in the best of the ways, I wanted to say. There is no, like, it could have been that in the past there was bargaining in here. There was like, let's work this out, let's change, let's whatever, and you didn't like agree upon it, and people got like, gave you a huge, like, gave you credit and respected you as a result of you not being so easily like not even easily, like, not being shaken in your direction and will, and being determined uh, to the achieving of the result, basically. Yeah, I think that's all. Pile number one, that was like a very deep reading for me, to be honest, because of the notes. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment below, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to check out my old videos as well. For the donation option, you have the link to my PayPal in the description and the comment section if you'd like. If not, that's completely fine. I appreciate all the forms in which you support my channel, and I really love to see you here. Don't forget about the boundaries thing. I wanted to insist on it, and don't forget to keep on searching for people, for the right ones, and don't forget that the right ones are going to reciprocate your energy. The right ones will never infringe upon your boundaries. The right ones will listen to your preference. The right ones, so forth. And you know it too well. I feel like this pile is well too aware of that, and I would like to applaud on your defined sense of self. It's basically something that's very, let's say, apparent. It's very straightforward into the reading, and don't forget to sift through influences like you did so well, you know. Very also serene pile, and unfortunately I want to say it's quite upsetting to me to understand that, this pile is not going to be seen and understood by everyone, despite really being like a universe, like a walking universe. It's very upsetting to see that as like not being properly, not even priced, because that sounds wrong, but like appreciated at its core value. That's how pile number one feels. And people will get the hints, like, trust me. It will feel like, time passes and they will get like hints, they would grow up, mature, whatever, and they will get like the slight memories, nostalgia, and whatever, and they will understand, like, yeah, this pile, like, remember them, they were like very, that person was something else. I couldn't understand them, but now as I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, it's very, very understandable. Like, that's why they did that. It's very quite. It's gonna be too late, though. I will stress this out, but yeah. Thanks for watching. I think that's all. Really looking forward to seeing you in the future readings. Take care. Hello and welcome, pile number two. You chose the Pink Quartz with the cards in here representing you. Nothing is yet set in stone, and also Chiromancer. This feels to me immediately from the start a pile that's very, again, unpredictable, with nothing is yet set in stone, very tumultuous. It could be people would regard you as tumultuous, but let me tell you something, this pile is very right in their tumultuousness in this case, because it feels like there is like this law of cause and consequence. This pile really plays well on that, will not sleep on reacting, will not sleep on basically not responding to the right things, to the right, in the right ways, basically. um People are thinking that you've got like a divine order from like inside of you that's basically dictating your expression into the world. um it's a very beautifully chaotic type of energy where you'd see, you know, when you look at the waves, it's a very strange feeling, by the way, because when you look at the waves and the sea, um, when you're not affected by the waves, you could be looking at it and understanding it's very beautiful. It's very like, it's so like unique as an element in and of itself, as an occurrence, within the nature. But when you'd be like sailing in that, it would be completely a different story. I feel like people would be threatened a lot. They would be quite like placing their bets on who's gonna win, in this circumstance, you or the other party. But when they're placed with you one on one, it's like quite unsettling for them in a way, because this pile doesn't let anything sleep. You don't ignore anything. With a chiromancer in reverse, I would say even this pile would be prone to playing like undercover or not revealing everything. And when people basically show their true colors, you also show your true colors, and they're um perplexed, flabbergasted, whatever. In this case, like, it feels like this pile could have shown one thing, and they um like, you could have played a game, you've shown something, and then like you shifted, and that was completely unexpected. Also, this pile reminds me of this, not the saying, but yeah, the saying, roses have thorns. This pile is deeply spiritual, but in the perception of people, that would be like not from this world. That person is, that pile is. Um, I feel like with the chiromancer in reverse, you are keeping yourself hidden, or not exposing yourself to your core immediately right from the start on purpose, just like I said, and you read and understand people around you quite well. With the Ace of Cups in here, I want to say people do regard you as someone who's very emotional. But also with the Queen of Swords, I wanted to say people think of you as someone who's very strong as a character despite having emotions, and that you're not afraid to switch, basically, because that would be like literally the switch between the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords, where with this pile it would feel like you could greet and welcome people in a very like soft spoken and very kind manner. But when people show very not so very, oh my god, if they show something that's inappropriate, then you immediately switch to the Queen of Swords, and people have to earn your respect for you to even love them. And I feel like this is very interesting, because people take for granted that Queen of Cups like a lot of the times, and you've learned to basically transform it into the Ace of Cups, and basically be kind but selective with that kindness, where you wouldn't allow this to basically be used against you. What's interesting in here, I was channeling right now, people think that you would cut them through, like you would slash them through. I don't know, maybe not literally, because yeah, whatever, but it feels to me like You are a very kind person, by the way. It feels like you are a very like welcoming person. You are a very soft person in general, but the surroundings right now are requiring you to basically represent something that's not necessarily that kind. That's not necessarily expressing the full spectrum of that emotion, and for very, very good reason. People, like, not gonna lie, they look at you and say, I wanna see them in their sweet, like, energies, whatever. And what they see is that nothing is yet set in stone, like, and a wave comes and slashes them through. Like, that would be pile number two. It's very funny how, like, with this Ace of Cups, people get that feeling of sweetness and softness, but they understand that, and also, like, they gradually understand that they have to reveal themselves to you fully, or they have to play fair for that part to even show itself to them. Just like with other piles, I love what they see in here with this Five of Swords. In reverse, it's you will play fair and you'll expect that from the other person or from people. People are very aware of it. It feels to me like even people are a bit taken aback or even hesitant to interact with you because they understand that if they do something wrong, then there will be consequences, and you won't even stay, especially with the Eight of Cups. Like, you won't even stay for the green flags if there would be one red flag that's basically coloring everything. That's people's thoughts in here. I also want to applaud this pile, especially with this combination like moldy and poem, sinister and intimate. What came through as a result of channeling this information was very interesting. Was very funny, by the way. Moldy poem reminds me of the people who would try to sneak their ways past your boundaries and past your defenses, where they would be like sweet talking or sweet talkers with poem. This could be also nostalgia or romanticism in here, but you're like, I'm not catching that vibe, right now. Like, I'm not catching it. Like, I'm not, don't even try. With moldy in here especially, I would see you assessing the whole act as quite embarrassing and quite honestly not okay, you know? And that person would immediately lose your respect because of that manipulation, because I do sense in here manipulation with sinister and intimate, and the whole set in and of itself. It reminds me of the ways in which people want to manipulate. When I say manipulate, I want to really stress on the idea. It's like wanting to achieve something and using everything that's available. And it's not that, using everything that's available, but especially with the intention to harm or with the intention to use someone to their advantage. In here, with the intimate, I would see people basically wanting to slide into your DMs and not gonna go further, but it's basically not from the most like pure spectrum. It's using, user type of energy in here. And my God, I pity those people that they are going to be faced with a lot of karma or a lot of consequences out of messing with you. Not even like you would be. Oh God, it's almost like you catching them from the start and cutting the game in, like slashing the game in two pieces, breaking the game into pieces. Yeah, that's the Queen of Swords. And I want to say it feels like this pile in the past was regarded as very sweet, whatever. And you switched, you are still sweet, but you are filtering that energy. With grieving in here, it seems like someone is grieving your presence. It seems like this is X energy, or people with whom you no longer talk. And I feel like, as I'm looking at this Eight of Cups, like right down there, like in the reading in the corner more closely, um, it feels like you're so done. Like this pile is so done, and people think like you're so done with the BS, with the manipulation, with the wrong type of people. I'm done. I'm focusing on myself. Bye. The star in here. I will get back to that, but that's hilarious. That's fascinating how this pile is grounded in their own sense of, I'll do my order if that's necessary. Or I'll make my order, actually. With the open painting, I wanted to say or add that people regard you as like an open treasure. And in which sense, I want to clarify. You are open in general as a person. You are welcoming. Um, you're overflowing with energy to the world, but you're also filtering and cutting down everything that's basically messing or interfering with your light in this context. And it's like, for those brave enough to approach me, I will listen to you, but if you show something that's not right, then there is not going to be even an excuse to as to why I would cut you off, and I would say it right into your face. Literally this pile. With the ashamed, it's people after that contact they had with you, they would come to the realization that, or if and there would be something wrong, and they would be like a bit more aware but also a bit ashamed, because I would feel like you'd call them out, and it would be quite like the experience for them, to be honest, and not the most, let's say, pleasant one, to be quite honest with you. On the Chiromancer card, you do have in here delivering news and collaboration, but seeing as how this pile is in reverse, you choose as well, just like pile number one, you choose your people and you collaborate with the most and the best suited like candidates in this case, and you really guide yourself towards making that selection. People regard you or keep you in high regards in general with the ascension. It could have a tangency with spirituality in here, but something about this ascension card makes me think that either you are advanced in many ways or in a specific direction, or it could be both, or it could be everything that I'm mentioning in here. But there is like a sheer amount of, like, a lot of respect in here coming through from this card, and um people do regard you as being very opinionated and also grounded in your own ideas, voice, and directions in life. Something about this Queen of Swords and this Logic card indicating very like strong intellectual prowess in here. With immunity, I want to applaud you also that we have that in the lingering thoughts of people. You are immune to a lot of stuff that would be making the general demographic prone to it. Basically, what I'm trying to say, it could be the case that you are immune to manipulation. It could be that you are immune to um, a lot of like indirect schemes or mechanics aimed at basically using the person in their favor or something like that. And with you, however, there is like a very good solid understanding that basically this is not going to roll out with you so well as it did with the other people. And also I want to say that you would be the first one to basically um, lend a helping hand to those who are about to be scammed or used or whatever. It feels like you'd be even like generous in the idea of granting that immunity to others. People with moving beyond think of you as a person who's not going to be stagnant ever, who's ever evolving, ever expanding, ever changing, and ascension. Ascension and moving beyond. The difference between these two cards, it makes it so that moving beyond is basically temporary obstacles, and with ascension, it would be even like a dualistic type of energy where you would even like create these jumps of evolution that would basically push the other spheres of life to come forth and basically follow through. It's no joke when you see this combination of cards in here, because what I do sense is like we have a strong character, a powerful core, and that core is being moved forward, it's being moved beyond, and it's ascending. If, by the way, you are engaging in spiritual activities such as maybe yoga or who knows, meditation, prayer, if you are engaging in an activity that connects you to the divine, I want to really say with Ascension, you are doing a pretty good job because what you're doing is working. That's what I'm trying to say, especially like, and moving beyond is like a more day to day, whereas Ascension is basically creating that like engine for moving forward and really not caring, really not caring on what's stagnant because it will be sorted out, sorted through automatically. Now, this is going to be the part where we delve into the thought, then the intensity, and then the domain. We have three of those. We shall begin right now. Very interesting because the thought in here carries the world card and optimism. It feels like this pile is not going to be steered away from their own agenda, from their own beliefs, from their own information that they hold dear. With optimism, though, it's like very surprising how even people understand it that you are on their side, but from the distance, and that you are a very good intentioned person. And there is no like, I do not sense in here backstabbing, and people with optimism regard you as a very positive person in general. With the sun in here from the intensity and with integrity in reverse, it could be even that the sun is a very intense, let's say, intensity in this case, but there is a desire for goodness in here. With integrity in reverse, it could be the case that people would regard you as basically someone who's going to be an example for what's like to be at peace with your integrity, and that being a decent good person could yield you great or even greater results than manipulating. From the domain, you have the Page of Swords with self-exploration in reverse. This is talking about the domain of the self. I would say with the page in here, this is ever evolving, like ever changing aspect, and the learning aspect from the page in here. It could be that you are awakening people as well. You could be awakening them in their sense of, I should change, because look at pile number number 2. Next, we have the second thought with the star and financial freedom. People look at you and say, you know, we have to invest in being self-sufficient, we have to invest in being spiritual, we have to invest in being open-hearted, we have to invest in everything that's basically making us ascend. And with financial freedom, it could be that they are mixing in that element of, finances, of course. Like, pile number 2 is being regarded as spiritual and financially stable and financially well off. And it feels to me like people said this as an example to them, like the closest thing that they want, they would associate it with finances. And yeah, it's basically something that makes them think like, yeah, I want to be like them, so therefore, we should be investing in the good things as well. It could be that this pile even brings a whole new dimension to spirituality and to the benefits of being spiritual by setting an example. From the intensity in here, you have the Ace of Wands. This is very powerful intensity as well. It's like an idea, it's like a thought, it's like um I don't know why I wanted to say like a cognitive event that's like exploding basically into their heads. It's basically inspiration with sacred geometry. It could be even that people get inspired, basically. They get inspired and they want to. With sacred geometry, it's like the explosion, the awareness of what's not working, what's not right in here, like what should be fixed, what should be worked on. The intensity in here is like the light bulb moment. It's like the insight, the awareness, the revelation in here that's going on. Um, and lastly, the domain is the finances, but with the Knight of Pentacles in here, it's the long-term finances, meaning that, and also meditation, okay? To reiterate, this is very interesting because we have this reoccurring message of finances and spirituality finances. Like, we have a very spiritual card as the star, and we've got their ascension moving beyond. And also we have in here financial again, and Knight of Pentacles, which would be like pentacles in here. With meditation domain, it's you could be an example, a person who is thought of as, if I were to follow spirituality, this would be the result. Pile number 2 is an example of what's going to be happening. And with meditation, literally, it could be that you inspire people to invest in spiritual practices or to even meditate. It could be the case quite literally. The next thought, the Eight of Cups. I feel like this is very specifically addressing the element of you could not be manipulated. You could be uh, very mildly bargained with, but the best, most proper approach to you would be to nurture. People understand that there is no straight, oh my god, there is no shortcut. I wanted to say straightforward, but I wanted to say shortcut, but came straightforward. There is no shortcuts to you. There are no shortcuts to you. The intensity in here is the death in reverse, with breaking through barriers in reverse. Now, you see, this is not going to be the case where this pile is going to be silenced. This pile is not going to be told what to do. It feels like there is like a very ecological, mindful, nurturing approach that has to be enforced, like not even enforced, but used to basically even try to convince you or even try to make you listen to the whole thing and to the whole request. It's not even like trying to steer this pile away. It's not gonna work. This pile is too aware in that way. The domain, it's let me check. This would be the Queen of Wands in reverse and the Play in reverse. This is, for me, it would be will. It could be I do what I want. If you show me that you do what you want and you try to manipulate me, then I'll do what I want. And this is going to be game over to you, for you. Because this pile is calling people into reason. And if this is not going to be engaged in, if this is not going to be used as a base or a fundament for like a foundation, oh my god, like a foundation for your interaction, then you're going to play by your own rules, and this is not going to be very comfortable to them. I do not know why necessarily, but you don't have a lot of understanding from people. The validation for you would be that people will respect your character quite a lot, actually. You'll have that, like, people will understand your character, but unfortunately they will not understand everything about you or your character. um I feel like you should be applauded on the strength of your character in general, because this pile is not something you see, sorry, someone you see every day. But you know, you have to understand that that thing I told you about the Queen of Swords, about being honest, about being with a strong, powerful sense of integrity, it doesn't, it's not a very like common thing, unfortunately. And for that, people are not going to say like, well done. It's not that you're waiting for it to be even like worded this way, but you have to understand that your goodness is going to be your own, somehow your own gratification or your own reward in and of itself, and the rest people are just going to basically look and realize and understand whether it's something that they want to follow. It's interesting. Do you even know, like, you are a very fierce person? People regard you as a very fierce person in a good way. This is not a fierce type of energy that you would feel like when you see a bear and you want to run away. No, this is respect, linked to this fierceness and a sense of, everyone is going to be kept accountable for their actions. This pile is like this. And I want to also say the exterior is going to regard you as very, like, let's say, cold, maybe detached or not sincere, but this is not true. You are a very genuine, sincere person, a heart-based person, a very comforting presence to be around, but it feels you like, the circumstances around you are not letting you express that to the full extent, unfortunately. So this is no doubt the case. You just have to keep that to yourself, understand it about yourself, and really treasure that aspect, because there are people, I've seen this, that people would be like ruthless, but they don't have anything there that they are guarding. They're just, let's say, insecure, let's say, or let's put it that way. I would say there are just people who are bitter, but bitter for somehow the sake of it, or it's as though they would be given a choice, but they would still, at their level, choose that bitterness over something that would be noble or something that this pile would have. I would also want to say that with the qualities and the aspects from this pile, you are capable of moving mountains. To be honest, it would be like being capable of changing a lot of things, being capable of exerting your will into this world, upon this world, in like a very, let's say, ecological way, because of the amount of integrity there I saw. And also this pile is capable of making themselves and their voice heard, which is something that's like very, like, I want to applaud this as well. To the relatable scale, this reminds me, like, this pile reminds me of my own journeys where I would introspect, where I would work on myself, and where I would not seek to have the validation. Because, you know, being at the phase where you're just doing that to yourself, for yourself, and you wish or you hope to impart that upon the whole world, if you can. If not, then winning someone else's favor, that's good, but it's not as good as winning your own favor in the end. Or being respected, like, it comes from within, like the self-respect, and then the whole world. Like, you don't need the world to respect you or to validate you, if you can do that to yourself, if I can believe in myself, if I can believe in my journey, if I can believe in my cause, then there is no need for me to be steered away either by positive or negative comments, because the mission is there, me is there, my myself is there, and we're going into a direction that I would deem as being noble, and I would deem as being interested on helping and giving to me and to the world, like helping myself to help the world and seeing this world as a better place. I feel like this is literally the example also of pile number 2, having a very noble and good heart and seeking the ways in which they can expand, evolve, and change the world. And evolving from and changing from within, starting from themselves. Yeah, I think that's all pile number 2. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment below if it resonated with you, what you thought of this pile, and if you're subscribed, thank you so much. If not, then consider doing that for seeing new readings. And I really hope to see you in the future readings. Don't forget to donate if you want. The link is going to be in the description or the comments below the timestamps. And I think that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to believe in yourself. Don't forget to follow through to your North Star, basically. Thanks. Take care. Hello and welcome, pile number 3. Those of you who chose the Pyrite crystal, this is going to be a reading. You have the first the first card of balance and spirituality. What came to mind with this pile specifically was the fact that people think about you as someone who is very balanced and works well alone. It could be that this pile is on a spectrum of introversion, more so than like being extroverted, though naturally there will be variations, or at least this is what people think about you. That you are minding your own peace and are going to do so for a very long time. Now, it's interesting, this pile came to mind, it reminded me of the previous reading I did, and it literally was the same card that went out. And this is like a more closed to themselves person, and people think that, you've got like your own universe to yourself and that you're thriving in it. So this is like also a type of non-interferent, very peaceful energy, very like I'm not going to stick my nose into your business, so why don't you do the same thing to me? With the unfold card in reverse, this could literally be the case that people regard you or think about you as being secretive, mysterious. But interestingly enough, usually when mystery comes to mind to people, it's something that people would rather like maybe conceal. It's like top secret, whatever. In your case, it's secrecy, but people know that you are a good person. With a joy card, people regard you as being again like a very positive, optimistic, an addition to the team type of person. And especially with Namaste, it's like, this pile feels like sort of a person who's capable of setting an atmosphere into the whole room. And yeah, it feels like, people enjoy being around you, and the thoughts that people link to you are of a very positive spectrum, are on a positive spectrum, really like joyous. Namaste reminds me of like gratitude for some reason, and also like happiness when meeting you or when seeing you around. With the star card and the lovers in reverse, this is quite interesting because I don't remember if I came across something like this in the past, though. First of all, with the lovers in reverse, it feels like people think that you don't need anyone or anything to be happy, that you're self-reliant, and that you're a pretty like happy person on your own. With a star, however, in reverse, it's like almost like they think that you would thrive alone. Or with this card in reverse, it's like something about you is strange in the positive way, meaning that, it almost makes me feel like life should have made you like, I don't know why it comes through as a bad person, or life has treated you in very like harsh ways, and you ended up being a very good person, or you overcame a lot of obstacles and stuff that would naturally like incline people to be more like negative or even egotistical, whereas this pile feels like they are giving and very generous with their energy. Despite being introverted, this pile feels like they are charging, they are like gathering their energy and resource. And when you stumble across people, like you give the best you have, and people regard this is not like explosive optimistic or joyous energy that you'd see like when a child sees parents or whatever, but in this case it's like a gratitude filled like calmness or serenity that's coming to mind in here. And I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if this pile is actually a loner. I do not see in here the hermit card, though I wouldn't be surprised if I stumble across it at some point. I think that people are very interested in knowing you or getting to know you better. Um, Something about your life story, something about your progression in life seems to be of high interest to people. And what's interesting in here with retrieval, wait, no, it's retreat to source in reverse. I wanted to say that there is an element in here of thought that people think, I'm this person makes me want to stay here on this earth more, or this person makes me feel like life is worth living, or something about you being inspirational, something about you reminding people of their either worth or and both, you know why they're worth having. It's like you reminding people of their very good qualities in here. And it would seem as though this pile would be regarded, or people think about you as being like closed off from the world, but once they get to know you better, it's very wonderful what they find there. And it's like a very, again, non-intrusive energy that I feel like it's coming through from this pile with thoughts of nostalgia. We have in here this card, quite interesting. Seems to be like these are people from the past or stuff, or people like really big time missing out on you. You also have in here calling, so I do not know necessarily who you are or what you're doing, but it seems like you could even awaken people in life with their purpose, with like what's the purpose they came in here to do. It could be the case. Whenever you are present, I'm channeling from the Ten of Cups that people really love when you are around. And this is something that makes people like makes their day brighter somehow. It's almost like, we do have in here the labels of relationships, like in this life, where this person is that and this person is that to you, and there are some limits. But in here, I feel like regardless of the context, regardless of the style or the ways in which people relate to you, they are really happy to see you. And with thoughts, there is like almost a lingering idea of when I'll get to see them, or when they will show up, or something like this. And thus, it's very logical why we have in here this very strong nostalgia card and calling in here. It's almost like you appear in people's lives, you give them the best, or you give them some sort of direction, and then you're gone, and everything has been given, but there is like still the missing aspect of you, missing you. And it's almost funny because when I think about this, like, it could be the case that you were meant to fulfill a role in people's lives, and once you're done fulfilling that role, um, like, things should be moving forward, but people are like, yeah, I know you fulfilled that role, but could you like stay? Could you please stay with us a little longer or more or forever? Because it feels like this person from pile number three is like a kiss of grace for some reason, where it's also quite strange because this is a person who also went through such turmoil with the star in reverse and with the lovers, almost as if like I would feel like you were not loved by the people who had to love you or should have, or you had like a severe case of people either hating on you, bullying you, or being very harsh on you, but still like you, that didn't make you turn your back on the idea of being kind still. And I feel like people would be shocked, to be honest, like they would be shocked honestly to know what you went through. And this pile, I feel like you don't even like show that to people, or you don't even like tell that to a lot of people, if any at all. Anyways, you have instrument diva, the closed and the judgmental in here. um what's interesting, the diva aspect or card, it reminds me of a person who's very like, let's say, selfish but at the same time self-loving. Why, I do not know, but this pile feels like you are like this but to people, and instead of being self-centered like let's say a diva would be, well, it seems like you are more so like this with people, where you like aim for their best interests. And I wouldn't be surprised as well if this pile is capable of even loving or trying to love the people who are not necessarily that good, or the people who tried to bring you down or who judged you, or people who are close minded. I remember once I saw the star card in reverse in a reading, and it was something along the lines of, this person shouldn't have made it. This pile feels like this in the most fortunate way possible, because I feel like it's almost fate related, that it's very kind of upsetting though, like the information that I will say. It almost makes me feel as though the weight of the crushing weight of the events that were in your life logically would have made you crumble, though it didn't happen because there was too much at stake, like your happiness and the people that you're going to help as a result of you thriving and prevailing. In this case it's almost like a miracle. This pile feels like a miracle that somehow managed to survive something like horrible. I do not know necessarily what that is. Well, you should be the one to understand what's going on, but it's basically like a miracle that was, this basically reminds me of there are storylines where there is like a huge tragedy or something, and in that huge tragedy like a miracle occurs, and it's like a sort of a compensation for the great like loss that has happened. Something like this, like balance in here being mentioned. It's almost like balance was again reestablished as a result of like the gift or the imparting of the gifts that you are now having in possession. um yeah, the muse in reverse, generosity and naivety. I feel like you grew into someone that was and is not only exceptional but beyond what people expected to begin with. Um, Now, I do not know what this is about, but that's quite like the reading, to be honest. Now we'll go into some divisions in the reading. You have the first thought, then it's going to be the intensity, and then the domain. The thought, you have the Three of Cups with beginnings. Now, what this makes me feel like, it's people, I feel like they think about the ways in which they can know you or get to know you better, or they think about the possibilities of getting to know you better. I feel like, this is, I don't know if you see this, but the card is showing a person who's being welcomed, and I feel like this is like a guiding of sorts, guiding you to the light, or guiding you to the, I don't know, love of the universe, something like this. And it's like the beginnings card. So whatever happened with you that brought you to this point, I feel like not only universally is the case, but people want to give you the best. It's like when people are going to understand what you went through, they're going to offer you the best. Somehow, like, there is like a message of sorts like this. From the intensity, you have the Nine of Wands. I remember this card. This shows a person who's holding like a gem, and it basically shines on everything and it illuminates everything with relationship in reverse. Um, there is like a channeled message going on where people are acknowledging, understanding who you are, acknowledging your value, and you being regarded as this very precious gem. With relationship in reverse, I can say that perhaps it could be the case that you won't be immediately ready to jump into it, or you could even be a little bit overwhelmed. From the domain, we have the Ten of Swords with moving forward in reverse. Now, listen, this is going to be fascinating because I don't remember if I stumbled across this message before. You're not going to be immediately able to accept and feel everything as like from the love spectrum. Even like it could be coming off as very overwhelming to you, and with moving forward it's going to be like you'll feel like a forced, like it's going to be a forced thing, or it's going to be like the amount of love or the amount of positivity is going to overwhelm you quite easily. I feel like this pile is not going to necessarily understand what's going on, or you could have been used to the worst, or you could have been very accustomed to the worst case scenario, but I do see in here you being pleasantly surprised. And not only this is coming from the universe as being like, or giving you gifts, but with the Three of Cups, it's almost like the gifts are going to be relayed through the means of relationships, or through the means of connection or networking. Again, this is quite interesting because we have beginnings, and it feels like definitely this pile is somehow, or did in the past, survive a lot, and this is going to be a beginning into love or something like this. And for you it's not going to be quite comfortable because you're not very, like, you can't quite absorb, or you're not used to absorbing that type of energy. And almost it's like this pile has been a loner in a way for such a long time that it's actually difficult for you to relate to the idea of like a relationship. And again, with moving forward, it's going to be a bit hesitant, like you're going to be a bit hesitant to move forward, or it's going to feel like the universe is going to be pushing you a little. I want to say the aspect of the gratitude and appreciation in here is absolutely off the charts, especially it coming through from the aspect of the miracle I was talking about. So it's almost like not only you did not perish, but you have managed to affect and to intricately touch a lot of souls. For some reason, it's like almost people wanting to live again, and you fulfilling a great role or a very noble purpose. Pretty fascinating, to be honest. The next thought is going to be the Hierophant in reverse. You don't know how much on point and how well your intuition predicts and says everything to like spot on, it being like very spot on. With higher purpose, I feel like, I see pile number 3 extending their help, extending their, I don't know, it could be some sort of a job, even maybe it could be like an occupation of sorts, where you're doing your best, like you're doing an honest work, but you don't understand from the actual um like from the side how much this affects the world, how much it affects the people around you. You have from the intensity magician in reverse with expansion. You are yet to encounter and to grow a lot into, especially into the perception of the magnitude of your power. But what's fascinating to me is how this pile could be living their highest purpose and being quite oblivious about it, or it could be even the case where people would be even more aware of you living your higher purpose, but you being not on that the same on the same boat basically. What's interesting is in here is the domain card, which is literally the Emperor and Labyrinth. I can't believe I'm delving into this, by the way, but I feel like the domain I was referring to is ego, or it could be identity, or it could be the masculine side, because this is the Emperor. And with Labyrinth, it could be that you cannot come face to face with your acknowledgement of power, of control, or of authority, or of brilliance that you do possess naturally. And I feel like, the people would be the ones to temporarily carry or remind you of your value. Like it could be the case that people in here play the most support in this way. So it's basically this. With the moon card in reverse being the next dominant thought, you have also positive intention. Something about you, or you being or giving some sort of information or stuff that's basically revealing the ways or showing the way or guiding people in general. Um, I am also sensing a spectrum in here. It could be that you are willingly or not creating some sort of patterns or behaviors that are, without necessarily good or bad intention, putting people in the right spaces or the right circumstances or the right, giving them the right type of attitude. It could be the case. From the intensity, you have the Two of Pentacles with integration in reverse. This pile is bittersweet in the way where it feels like you are offering people the truth, whether they are ready for it or not. And I feel like you are a grow up factor in the good and bad ways. And when I say bad ways, it could be about pushing unwillingly people to grow up when it's absolutely necessary. And the domain we have in here, the Five of Wands with the Catcher in reverse. I feel like this domain is talking about you being straightforward, or you coming to terms with the idea that you have to intervene, or you coming to terms with the idea of the confrontation being necessary. And with the Catcher, it could be that even not you didn't choose the situation, the situation chose you, or something about you, or something about the situation needing a release, and you were placed there to specifically maybe even like explode, because this Five of Wands depicts a person who's like a bit surprised by the explosion or something like this. But with the Catcher, yeah, it's I do not see this pile as being negative in any way, shape, or form. um my god, this pile doesn't feel validated. It even feels like not only you were not validated, but it feels like this pile is genuinely used to not being validated, which is quite sad to me. Um, what wants to transpire into the reading is the following: believe in everything that you feel, and especially like the intuition part, believe in the ways in which you feel stuff, because that's completely okay, that's completely valid what you feel. That's completely because of the lack of the mirroring aspect, you're going to be faced with a lot of non-validating situations, people and stuff that is going to be blaming or scapegoating you, you have to understand that you are sane, you're not insane. This is all negativity directed at you, and no gaslighting can make you feel otherwise. I feel like this pile is genuinely having a very like healthy, sane interaction and perception and assessment of the reality they are surrounded by. And there is no sugarcoating, nor there is like catastrophizing in here. It's just knowing the truth, as bitter or sweet as it may be or not be. I do sense in here also some sort of setbacks or things also being converted similarly to the miracle aspect I was discussing earlier. I would feel as though your future or something about your immediate future being surrounded by a sort of inevitable miracle that's about to happen, or inevitability of you converting a basically no solution type of situation in something that's completely and wonderfully benefiting you and your people around you. What seems to be going on as well, just like pile number one, this pile doesn't feel like they're meant for everyone and everybody, and especially not to be understood by everyone and everybody. This pile feels like somehow an exception in the system, or it's almost like a danger for the system, because this pile is capable of basically like behaving in such a way that it creates error into the system. It can give headaches to people. I want to say this pile is capable of unrooting a lot of negativity, a lot of stuff that they are very good at unrooting because of the experience that they went through. And I feel like you are genuinely a person who comes into people's lives as a saving grace in a way. I feel like you encompass some aspects of the exact opposite of what you went through. Like it's giving me the idea of like almost like a contrast of sorts, where you learned to be loving out of the idea of how unloved you might have been, or you learned to be very careful with some insensitive people that you were treated by, as though you chose your role, like you chose who you're going to be in this whole game. And the insane amount of appreciation that's going on with this pile, it's off the charts. I'm seeing this three of cups. It's like people discovering you and saying, why didn't we know about you earlier? Why didn't you say a word? Like, why didn't you just mention it? Why didn't you ask for help or something like this? um it's a very strange idea in here, because whatever, but it's definitely like stemming through from the miracle aspect, and I do not know what this is. You could mention it in the comment section. I'm very interested to find out and understand what's going on. But people regard you as like, I would even be I would be counting this pile as one to be like people looking back in time and counting the years or something like this, or seeing what you are capable of right now and thinking it doesn't add up, like something is now right, like this file couldn't have been like this. Or the utter shock at the people realizing that basically like you are who you are right now, but you went on and you survived some very cruel events, like I don't know, or some very cruel relationships. It could also be the case. There are going to be, or if already, like you should recognize this, there's going to be some very crude influences directed at you in some way. um, I'm not saying it will be, it could have been that this is stemming from the past and it could be like a reflection of sorts, who knows. But there will be instances where people are going to try and stick like labels and stuff that would be called very like negative in a way, or stuff that's very like insidiously negative upon you, and you're going to just separate yourself from it And I feel like this pile is the most the ones to basically shine a light on those who went through the same things that you did, or to impart wisdom and be a guiding light for people who are very close to giving up, something like this. And it's almost like the regeneration that's coming through from this pile. It's like from the core of your being, like you give the person the reset, and the reset is how this person felt like when they felt like the most positive. It feels to me like you made someone feel like how they felt when it was their birthday. You made someone feel how they felt when their family maybe like brought them in, or when they received a gift or something like this. You remind people of their core aspects when they were appreciated, and that's something that cannot go unnoticed in here. Yeah. This is like, I don't know, this gives me a divine sent agent person, especially like one that's not intending to play by the rules, or especially someone who's intending to overthrow the rules in here. But no mistake, there will be some great surprises on the way for you, because of the Emperor in here and Labyrinth. It's almost like you are helping people and they will help you understand who you are on a greater or deeper level, and you're genuinely going to be fascinated or surprised by what's about to unfold or transpire, and you won't be waiting for it. You see, this pile feels like someone who would help others by and for the goodness of it, like for the goodness itself. You won't expect the energy to be reciprocated, but my god, you're going to be surprised how much positivity is going to be aimed at you, even though again you won't be seeing it coming. That's the most beautiful thing I read today. Yeah. And from some time actually, even though like I've had so many readings, I can't even remember the information they said there. And me looking through the reading like from the past and remembering what I said in there, it feels like it's amnesia or something like this. Very funny. For you as well, it could be an idea of you help someone and you're just like they're like thinking, yeah, I just love them and that's okay. Like I don't expect anything, and this person could be coming to you like from some distant past and saying, that time when you showed me kindness and you believed in me, like, look right now where I'm at. I'm pretty sure it's because of you as well, and I'm very grateful for it. Literally talking about this pile, like the energy I felt. So I think that's all file I wanted to say. File number 3. Like, yeah, it feels like gathering files, by the way. It's like a lot of information though. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if it resonated with you, if you loved what you saw, heard. Comment below that you're pile number 3 for me to understand what's going on, the miracle people. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Check out the old videos as well. And if you want to donate, that's completely fine. If not, that's also completely fine. The link is going to be in the description or the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you in advance for all of the support and for making my mission happen in here for this channel and for you all. Take care.